I was 14 years old and my friend and I were really obsessed into Warhammer 40k. At the time I played Necrons. I was terrible at both painting and playing the game. I was almost 14 years old at that point. There was an employee at the games workshop, we'll call him C. He was playing a game at the time that I needed to play, is what he said. At the time I was playing RuneScape. And just so you guys know, I did have a RuneScape channel when 2007 released. You can check that out if you want. It's in the description. It's more cringy. I'm sure you guessed that at the time he was talking about WoW. I kept on saying that I don't have money, I'm a 14-year-old kid, and I can't buy WoW, and I couldn't play it. One day, my friend and I went to the games workshop, and we were just playing some games, and we were chatting with C. C saw us come in originally. He eventually went out to go get some Taco Bell, said he'd be back a little bit shortly. He came back about 20 minutes later with an EB Games bag in his hand. EB Games is like GameStop in Canada for all you Americans. He handed me the bag, and inside was World of Warcraft. That being said, it had 1 month free, and I was ready to start playing. Having school the next day, in my typical brown-nosed fashion, I proceeded to play WoW all night with C. We both rolled Warlocks and started to level. I had a blast. I was coming from one MMO to another. It was a great experience, and I just didn't know that I was going to be introduced to this decade-long obsession of mine. We played for about 3 days, got to level 20, we moved on from Silverpine Forest to Hillsbrad Foothills, and that's where I got my first taste of PvP. After about 3 days, C stopped logging in and just quit the game entirely. I was completely alone at that point. Fast forward a few months, I'm level 50. I had met a few people, one guy that asked me, being a 14-year-old kid, to build him a porn website at the time, but no long-lasting relationships from my first server. I started listening to the WoW podcast by Broken Eggs Media. The podcast had two hosts. One person was named Lakey. He laid out the information perfectly, and his co-host was amazing as well. Lakey announced that on Spirestone they were forming a guild for the fans called Undercity Parcel Service. I decided to join in hopes to make some friends. Because I was 14 and I had no job, I had to level from ground up. There was no server transfer for me. I decided to try a troll shaman. I loved it. I played Enhanced. It was amazing. I instantly made friends in the guild. One of my first friends that I made was Lars. You're a legend, dude. Then I met Lakey and his friend Wardiel, Tree, and then Balzan. Wardiel and Balls, which we'll call them Balls for short, took me under their wing to teach me everything that I needed to know about the game. Fast forward, I was playing a Warlock, being run through some instances and some raids, before the BC expansion had dropped. BC had come out at the time, and it was almost the start of a brand new era. BC is where I actually started to raid lead. We started with minor groups in Karazhan on my Warlock, and we moved up to Gruul's Lair. I eventually made the switch to a prop paladin once I leveled at 70. Lakey didn't want me to switch over to a different main and wanted me to stay on my Warlock. I think Lakey just didn't trust my tanking. Balls had his guild, The End, run me through Kara on a fresh prop paladin with no gear. I got completely geared out in that one run. One day, Lakey desperately needed a tank for Shadow Labs for his Shadow Priests. I was eager to prove myself as a tank. Lakey usually ran as a feral tank druid at the time as his main. I tanked Shadow Labs without having one white. Lakey quickly asked me right after the run if I was still interested in tanking. Of course I was. So I started tanking for the guild. We went on to some of the best raiding of my life. And we'll talk about Wrath and my top end raiding in another video. We got our guild first Hydros kill. I can't quite remember the timeline here, but at some point Lakey decided to split the guild into a fan guild and a raiding guild. So we moved on over to another guild called Express, and Lakey at the time had asked me to become the raid lead of Express and essentially lead the raids, which I was pretty much already doing. This change did not come without drama though. Leonard, who was an officer at the time, was very upset with my promotion. We still were friends, but he was rather upset that I was promoted to raid lead. I clearly had the skills of a raid leader. There were nights where I would stay up all night watching raid fights over and over on Warcraft movies. We progressed through SSC and TK, killing bosses like Alar, Void Reaver, and Solarian. At the time, I was known on the server for running great Gruul's lair raids, Magtheridon, and everything with pugs on the server. So every week I would host this with guildies and bring the pugs for the leftover spots. There are so many things that happened through this timeline. I made one of my raiders cry. Leonard had screamed at me and G-quit due to family tensions and me snapping at him over an argument. I guess it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. If you want to hear about those types of things in detail, let me know and I'll make a video of those. I have no problem with that. Fast forward to present day, Lakey and I are still friends. We've met in the real world. Tree and Wardiel are married and I attended their wedding. We are all great friends. Balzan unfortunately won't talk to me anymore because I had abandoned the guild back in BC, and I also abandoned the guild again in Wrath of the Lich King. I understand I left a sour taste in his mouth considering that he had taught me everything that there is to know about being a raid leader, and I wish I could reconcile, but I doubt that's ever going to happen. And the girl that I made cry, well, she's married to one of my off-tanks, Lightlorn. I know the story isn't too detailed, and it doesn't do the whole thing justice. The story is an epic saga of tears and joy. I made some amazing friends and lost some amazing friends. I was always an introvert in school and in life in my teenage. All of the people I mentioned have shaped me into the leader that I am today. Let me end this video with a few final notes to the people who are no longer speaking to me, or simply we just lost contact. I'm sorry for disappointing all of you. Nothing was worth losing your friendship, and I truly hope that you'll seek me out in vanilla and we can rekindle. To all of you listening, WoW is more than just a game for me. WoW is one of the most important things that's shaped me into the person that I am today. I have Blizzard and my friends to thank for that. Together it changed a timid, shy, introverted child into a natural leader and a strong individual. There are tons of people that I didn't mention in this video, but that would be a crazy long video, and I don't think any of you want to sit through that. If you do, let me know and I will make it. Thank you for all that have been supporting me lately. The channel's reached up to 200 subs. It's raising very quickly and quicker than I expected. I look forward to getting to know all of my subs. Thank you in advance. I know my videos are not the best, and with your support and help in the comments, I promise to make them better.